Look, we can't have E3 or booth babes, but hey, Summer Games Fest 2025 is at least a digital space where we can gather to get excited about what's coming out. And yeah, I'm aware that this is marketing schlock, but I think that a dose of ignorance so you can enjoy what could be ain't so bad. I'm fundamentally a child at heart, so let's talk about it. Let's just put the last big announcement of the show first, but I'm going to test you. You see this hair? What engine is this? For me, I generally know which engine and which dev it is whenever I see hair like this, and I can't explain why. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me. So yeah, Resident Evil 9. I was so hyped for this, and it's not to say I am a die-hard Resident Evil fan, but I think the Resident Evil series has been quite consistent for a while now. Resident Evil 3 Remake aside, ever since 7, I can't say that there was a single entry that was a bad game. And since RE Engine is made for, you know, Resident Evil, they tend to run pretty well. I think Capcom's mastery over the engine they've created shows a level of skill that you may find lacking in other game studios because the knowledge is likely quite intimate. I'm just guessing though, I just noticed the difference, you know? I always feel like I'm rolling the dice when the game is made in UE because of the varying skill levels, even in the large developers. I feel like Capcom seems like a safer bet. But yeah, it's a cool trailer, nothing to talk about because there's nothing of gameplay, but as the reputation stands, I think we can expect a really good RE game, and I'm here for it. Coming out February 27th, 2026. Mortal Shell 2's trailer really impressed me, and I have no idea why no one is talking about it. I'll be frank, I didn't play Mortal Shell. I looked at it, I thought, why not just play Dark Souls? And off I went. My understanding is that people mostly felt the same way after playing the game. Great atmosphere, decent gameplay feel, some unique mechanics but repetitive enemies, a lack of variety, and other instances of budget-induced jank outside of the art and aesthetic. I think that this is a prime example of a problem that money can fix, so I'm looking forward to it. And can we just admire this frame? Now, apart from the Souls-like nature, I think the main defining feature is, of course, the Mortal Shell, which you can see in the trailer. Think of it as different personas which you can swap to change your playstyle when you wear them. When you get to 0 health, you are knocked out of your Mortal Shell, and then you have the chance to reclaim your shell, but you have 1 HP. Anyways, what I'm vibing with here is the Geiger-inspired horror, this guy's face, alien gun, and brutal fatality moves. And look, it might get tedious after a while. Aware. But also, nah, not for me. I love this shit. I'm the target audience. Anyways, link to the beta registration below if you want to find out for yourself. Mortal Shell 2 is coming out in 2026. Hideo Kojima made an appearance to talk about Death Stranding 2, and it made me less interested in the game. The game's just about to drop. I think it's going to be a huge game. I just feel like their Summer Games Fest showing was meaningless fluff. Anyways, June 26th, it comes out on PS5. We're getting Code Vein 2. I'm a big supporter of Fashion Souls, and Code Vein was the most anime and fashionable of them all. I think a sequel could bring a lot of experiences and lessons learned from the first, so I think that's awesome. Now, from the start of the trailer, literally nothing about this guy's face says Code Vein. There is something off, something a little Fortnite-y about it. That said, all of this goes away when you see actual gameplay, which looks solid, though it looks like there might be some frame rate issues. There's a motorbike. Can you ride it? I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But everything looks promising, just let me dress up my anime waifu and swing a greatsword and I'm good, hey. Code Vein 2 is coming out 2026. You remember how Warner Brothers said that they were going to leverage their Game of Thrones IP? Well, now we know how, and it's going to be an RTS by PlaySide, who are the makers of Age of Darkness, a dark fantasy wave survival RTS. I have a bias, and I think it being Warner Brothers, an RTS, and television series adaptation gives you 3 major vectors for failure. I think recent years have shown that there are very few developers that can make an engaging RTS, never mind reviving care for a TV series that killed itself right before the finish line. I just don't know why anyone would care about this, but let me know what you think in the comments. This one's coming out 2026. Okay, now listen. Here's what I think. I think MundFish is the winner of the Summer Games Fest. I really do. Resident Evil 9 is the headline, but we are getting Atomic Heart 2, we are getting The Cube, and we are getting Ill, which I thought was scamware for the longest time, but here we are. Now hear me out. Follow my lead with this. Do you remember when Atomic Heart trailers came out and everyone thought it was fake because the game looked too good? And then remember when it came out and the trailers were quite representative of the actual game? Okay, that's part 1. Part 2. I can admit this, Atomic Heart was like a 6 to 7 out of 10. However, almost every problem kind of boiled down to a lack of RPG depth, some narrative weaknesses, and small game design choices. Just make the main character shut up. I don't think that anyone could really argue that Atomic Heart had a lack of creativity in world building, design, aesthetics, music, and general gameplay feel. My point is that, again, like the other games, I'm excited for it because Atomic Heart is a good base. They have had some experience with DLCs now, and from what I can see in these trailers, it looks like they have really put in work. So let's do Atomic Heart 2 first. Crazy, awesome world and design. I think we can all agree that this universe is something that you can't help but to look at and inspect in detail, and there is no shortage of that here. But here's the question, and I hope they've learned their lesson. Can you interact with it? That's going to be crucial. So you can see the HUD appear when you paraglide here, which I think lends itself to being a gameplay mechanic. That's cool if it's true. There's also a grapple and wall run scene. There's actually 2 wall runs. Please, 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 I beg of you, I want this to be real so bad, and I want it to be like Titanfall 2. Please tell me that is not this niche thing where you have 2 or 3 times on the special marked walls. Please. MundFish, I believe in you. Someone has to take up the Titanfall mantle. Now, part 3 of my supporting article is boobs. I don't need every game to be about boobs or boobs all the time, but there are hot women in a club, and this is a good sign because it indicates a lack of mental illness on the dev team. It didn't need to be there. I'm happy it is, but what it does is it just lays it all out on the table and says, hey, you don't need to worry about political activists here. We're not going to be hamstrung by some weird social censorship, and the art comes first. Now, the last part is important. Both on Steam and during the Summer Games Fest, they took special care to communicate that Atomic Heart 2 is an RPG, which is not what they did last time. I think this is a nod of acknowledgement to say, yep, we heard you loud and clear. We got it wrong the first time, we're doing it right this time. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Anyways, no dates yet. Moving on to the Cube. This one is in Atomic Heart's universe, and it's going to be their MMO RPG shooter. Their Destiny, if you will, but with the scuba swamp shark. Now, again, MundFish taking the leaf out of the first Descended Book of Babes everywhere. We've got more wall running, which hopefully confirms at the very least that they are proud of it. I think it hints to it being more of a player-driven action since they are showing it off. But I guess the quirk of this world is that the sides of the cube are always rotating, so it seems like the landscape can dramatically shift. I'll be honest, I'm kind of out of charity when it comes to looter shooters at the moment, but I'll be keeping an eye on the cube. No release date yet. Now for the last one, this isn't actually MundFish. Team Cloud is the developer, but it is part of MundFish's developer support program. I remember seeing a trailer for Ill 4 years ago and thinking, holy shit, that would be nice, but this thing is never coming out. Well, there's still no release date, but I think I'm wrong and I'm happy for it. Ill is a horror first-person shooter, and aside from looking gross in the best ways possible, because I'm a sucker for these things, look at the objects in the scene and how the enemies interact with them. There seems to be a special attention given to put the objects in the world, have them interact, and really immerse you. And that's going to really matter because these games pretty much live and die on how satisfying it is to shoot stuff with a shotgun and watch the carnage. So yeah, I'm a simple man, and Ill looks like it might give me the simple pleasure of a shotgun and a good time, and I like being threatened with that. Sad part is 0 dates, but MundFish has my attention. I'm very interested to see where these go in the future. I think they took the Summer Games Fest for me. Next, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I can recommend this one with my eyes closed. I'm someone that is quite marveled out. I would like to marvel a little less, but I can make a couple exceptions. Tribute Games made Shredder's Revenge, and that was awesome. This is going to be more of the same. Beat 'em ups are dumb and really fun. I think most of all, they come from a time when you actually saw your friends, and that's why I'll always simp for a good beat 'em up. This one comes out sometime this year. Onimusha, I think it will be good because it's Capcom. That's my bias. I did not play the original, so I want to play it now. That said, I don't have a good read on what to expect, so I'll leave this one up to you in the comments. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't interested. Onimusha Way of the Sword is coming out 2026. Chrono Odyssey. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Like, I am the guy that says MMOs are dead and gacha has killed them. I'm like the Nietzsche of MMOs. But as much as I think their relevance has passed, I can't help thinking, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the MMO that fulfills the ancient prophecy of the utopian forever game. Anyways, it's being developed by Chrono Studios and the publisher is Kakao. So this is a Korean operation. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. The odds that you are not going to feel the rice eater tax of being free to play is super low. Like all Korean MMOs, beautiful looking characters, great looking combat, probably has a real character creator unlike most Western games, and then it will leave you feeling absolutely hollow and disappointed. But still, I have to believe that there is one out there. Chrono Odyssey has a playtest June 20th to June 22nd, 2025, and you can sign up for it by going to the Steam page. Lies of P Overture, this is a DLC for Lies of P, great game, amazing looking DLC. This is easily one of the best Souls-like that isn't a From Software title. I'm hyped to jump back in, and it's out right now. Mecha Break makes a showing here to tell us that the launch is July 2nd. It had a super popular beta, and honestly, I'm just happy that Armored Core 6 broke the dumb stigma that mecha games aren't popular. Fuck you! Mecha Break is coming. Can we have a real front mission game now? Please and thank you. Wuchang Fallen Feathers. I'm on the fence with this one. Sometimes I look at the footage and it looks amazing, then I have something in the pit of my stomach telling me that there's something off. Being a Souls-like, the game is going to live and die off how the gameplay feels. That said, I friggin' love the spells and the bosses. I also really love how Black Myth Wukong has just opened everyone's eyes to be like, oh shit, other people in the world can make great games. I mean, China has had a reputation of low quality for a while now, and somewhat earned depending on where you look, but I don't think that that is the future. And that sucks for journalists, because Chinese devs do not give a shit about the likes of IGN, so I think that's good. One less singing the chorus of Western gaming hegemony is a good thing in my opinion. I hope Wuchang is good. I want to play it, though I am always wary when there are costumes, weapons, and skill point items in the deluxe edition of your game. Okay, so you will do that. What else will you do? Something to think about. Wuchang Fallen Feathers is coming out July 24th, 2025. Splitgate 2 is out. It has a battle royale now, and well, I'll just let the guy talk.
With the help from our amazing community, we've built Splitgate 2. Why? Because I grew up playing Halo, and I'm tired of playing the same Call of Duty every year, and I wish we could have Titanfall 3.
Guys, just speaking facts. I'll just say that Splitgate has always been great. I personally think they just need to make the characters look better. I haven't played Splitgate 2 yet, but I know that they'll have most of the good stuff from the original, so I feel confident in saying that it is an absolute workhorse first-person shooter for LAN parties, for those of us ancient enough to still indulge in them. It's just difficult to find newer games that you can actually play in the same room, which sounds weird, but it's the downside of forced matchmaking, developer-controlled lobbies, fixed team sizes. All of those things make gaming incredibly antisocial, and I think it's great that there is at least one option out there that still lets gamers have control over their game. So how was Summer Games Fest as a whole? Overall, I think it's a good thing. I think I got a lot of good things out of it. I hope you did too. I'd rather have it than not, but here's what I don't like about it, and let's see if we agree on this. I don't like that it is a scattered collective of live streams that don't make sense. And I realize that I have only covered the main Summer Games Fest stream, but if you want everything, you need to include the PlayStation State of Play, the Xbox Showcase, likely the PC Gaming Show, and then I think really everyone is hanging out for the Death Stranding 2 demo stream. Normally I'd include Devolver Digital in here purely because they make skits that appeal to me personally.
Much like that two-faced Janus.
Oh, you, Rick.
But then after that, you have a stream for different kinds of devs like their Pokemon. You have one for women devs, one for Latin American devs, one for Southeast Asian devs, one for environmentalists that can't tell that the game is AI, an Australasian showcase, and then finally a Black dev showcase. All of which are a horde of indie games based on the race or culture from which the developer originates. I just have to plainly ask, why? What is the point of this as the viewer or customer? Like, wouldn't it make more sense to break these streams up by genre or a theme that is in the game? Don't get me wrong, I'm happy for indie devs to have their own platform. I just don't understand going about it in the most racist and sexist way possible. And I think what happens is that it balloons the whole event with collections that don't matter to the broad customer. The Summer Games Fest stream by itself is too long. They desperately need some quality control. And as a customer, it's like, okay, let's imagine I'm really into first-person shooters. Where do I go to learn about first-person shooters? Which stream? All of them apparently. So yeah, it's pretty retarded. I know that you can't do anything about the Sony and Xbox showcases, but there seems to be an unwillingness within the event structure itself to help people find what they are actually looking for. The beauty of a real conference is that you can't see everything, and so the customer chooses what is important to them and then they make their own schedule. This format is a single line. You can choose to watch or not watch, but you have poor tools for making that decision, and it is definitely not to the customer's benefit, and it causes needless friction, in my opinion. Anyways, that does it for me. There were tons of games and these are the ones that interested me, but I am looking forward to being part of the discussion in the comments and hearing who the winners and losers were. Until next time.